Consistent 5 to 10K months as a virtual assistant is 100% possible. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how to get started step by step. That's right. This is the ultimate free virtual assistant course so you can start your VA journey now. True to its name, to be the ultimate free virtual assistant course, I need to start with, what is a virtual assistant? So glad you asked. The definition is in the title. It's an assistant of some sort who works virtually, remote. And for those of you who may have been more familiar with remote work after COVID, I just want you to know I've been doing this since 2015, before remote work was a big popular thing. So this is real, it does exist. And I'll pop some screenshots of like proof of income later, just because there's a lot of people out there who are talking about it. And I want you to know this is legitimate. Okay, so what is a virtual assistant? A virtual assistant is someone who gets paid to do a job working from anywhere. Now, like I said, it could be in a different category. So the most common are admin virtual assistants, marketing, tech, graphic designers, etc. But it really can be anything. Last year, I was paid $125 an hour as a course curriculum designer, right? And I know it sounds fancy, but it's all skills I use as a virtual assistant. A couple of years ago, I was the chief operating officer for a website and media agency. All skills I learned from being a virtual assistant, as well as running my nonprofit. So I'm not trying to overwhelm you. I just want you to understand the opportunities are vast. So if you're interested in being a VA or you already are one, you're on the right track and there is a place for you. And the most common ways people work as virtual assistants are to set up a business. So they'll offer it as a service, or they may even have some VAs under them, right? Or you just work as a freelancer and you may just join a company, but you work remote, right? So those are the two most common ways that people work as a virtual assistant. So the first step is true to being a VA mentor and business coach, is setting your price. And I know you may be thinking, really? But yes, we're going to set our price and work backwards. At least I am, because I think this is the best way to do it. And it also ensures that you'll understand what you need to make the price you want, right? So first, you're just going to choose, how do you want to charge? Hourly or a package? I have met a lot of people, a lot of VAs who like to charge by the package. And my recommendation is, make sure however you charge works for you and not just the client. For instance, if a client is paying you $500 a month, but you feel like you're working full time, that's not a great deal for you. Versus if they were paying you $40 an hour and you know you're going to have 5 to 10 hours a week, or maybe 20 hours a week, now you're making more money. So don't fall into the trap that some people do of, oh no, I only charge packages because I make more. Not necessarily true. I actually only charge by the hour, right? And this is making it to 6 figures as a VA, only charging by the hour. So not saying you can't do packages, just make sure that you are winning, okay? And even if you're charging by the hour, still protect your time, because I definitely have had a client before who they'll say they just need 10 hours a week, but it's like 1 hour in the morning and then 1 hour at night and then like 1 or 2 hours on the weekend. And so you can make a little and feeling like you're always working for them, right? So you also want to watch out for that as well. Okay, so step 2, after you set your price, right? And I'm going to let you know, so for admins, so VAs in the US, a base price is about 25 to 30 an hour. And this is base. This is for a new VA, you know, basic like skills, Microsoft Office, Canva, Buffer, like the basics. 25 to 30 is absolutely normal for a new entry level. And if you have more experience for whatever reason that you can leverage, then you can easily go to 45, 50 and up. So step 2 is your services, right? So the reason we set our price first is because depending on your price is also what you will offer. For instance, if I was only going to charge 25 or 30 an hour, like minimum, right? Now, keep in mind, I have like a lot, years, decades of experience, but I would not offer, for instance, article writing or blog writing, because as a writer, for me, it takes a lot more effort. So for that type of writing, I normally charge a minimum of 75 an hour. When you've written for magazines, like, again, writing all day, every day for 25 an hour, that would not make sense to me. What's easiest for me is admin, right? Like just managing calendars, emails, the basic administrative stuff, right? So if I was only going to charge 25 to 30 an hour, I would do like admin, maybe community management and Facebook groups, that type of thing. Now you can do what you want. I'm just giving you some recommendations, right? Based on my experience. There are, so like I said, the 5 areas, the biggest areas are admin, marketing, tech, courses, and graphic design. Okay. And if you're going to charge upwards of 45, 50 and up, my recommendation is that you include whatever services you know how to do. Never, I would say, feel like, oh no, well, they're not paying for this. Like, as long as you're good with the hourly rate, why hold back with skills? Because here's the thing, instead of hiring 3 different people, if you can take care of their customer service, their admin, and maybe light marketing, maybe posting on social, now they can just pay you. That's more hours for you. That's more that they need you, right? You're more of a valuable asset versus them, you saying, oh no, I only do this one thing, right? This one thing. And then they can find someone else who's going to tell them, oh yeah, I can do all of that. And also, the more you offer, the more you can charge. For instance, I had one client, this 2023, I was all of the departments. Literally, I was the marketing department, I was the customer service department, I was the course creation and management department. But I got paid 75 an hour. So to me, it evens out. Now, with that being said, I've also been paid 75 an hour as an executive assistant, right? But I also did more than just admin things. I also was kind of like a tech VA. Step 3 is getting clients. So once you set your price, and I know this is a different order, but set your price on what you need to cover your bills and create the lifestyle that you desire or God gave you the vision for. Once you set the price, right, then you can choose the services that you're going to offer. And if they're not high dollar skills, then you can level up your skills so you can get paid and qualify for what you want. Does that make sense? So that's why we start with the money first. By the way, I have this free checklist of all the skills that you can learn and get paid 45 to 75 an hour for. So if you'd like a copy of that checklist, just comment checklist and we will send it right to you. Okay. Alrighty. So we talked about setting your price. We talked about setting your services. Now let's talk about step 3. Getting clients. Well, to get clients, it depends on the route you're going to take. If you're going to start a business and you'll want to, meet with your attorney, get the basics fleshed out and all of that. But just remember that one important thing come tax time is that if you go the business route, remember that they will need to, whoever you work with will need to pay your business, right? And your business will pay you and whoever else works for you. I know that may seem like a little like, what are you talking about? But it'll come in so much handy during tax time if you decide to go the business route. Some benefits of going the business route, if you choose to do that, is that the clients you have will know it's leverage from the start, just meaning that if it starts to grow really fast and you decide you want to manage rather than actually do all the work yourself, your clients will probably already know that, right? Because they're literally making a check out to a business. Okay, so you can go the business route, and if you do, you can find clients in person, right? This can be as simple as going to some of the local businesses that maybe you frequent on a regular basis and say, hey, I know you have a small team. How would you like to save some money by only hiring me for, 10 hours a week or 5 hours a month, however you want to do it, right? I would charge you this much, but this is what you'll get, and you don't have to pay, benefits or insurance, etc., etc., etc. I have a video about how you can also offer them just a few complimentary hours if you're just getting started to build your portfolio, and then they can get a sample of your work. And a lot of times you'll either get at least a referral, and then sometimes you'll get a client, right? So in person, you can do Facebook. So there are so many Facebook groups. And a lot of times people will post when they are looking for a virtual assistant. And one helpful hint is that if you join different entrepreneur groups or different small business groups, therapist groups, just think niche but business. A lot of those people are looking for a virtual assistant. Don't necessarily just go to virtual assistant groups, because they're all going to be virtual assistant. Instead, go to like a gym group or something like that, like gym owners, and then just type in a search bar. You can even do this like once a day. Have 5 to 10 groups and type in virtual assistant or VA, and you'll see leads just pop up of people saying, hey, does anyone know of a, VA you can recommend? So don't be afraid to check out those groups. So those are 2 ways to get your first clients if you go the business route. The other route is as a freelancer, which just means you're not looking to do any legal paperwork. It's just you as a person who's going to work for this company or business owner. And you're not going to be officially a part of their organization, which means they're not normally going to take out any taxes of your check, right? And then it also means that you won't get benefits, right? So this applies to both, but I just want you to understand. And this is the route that I see people take a lot as well. And some of my favorite ways to get clients as just a freelancer is on Upwork. It's really great. Fair warning, they do take 10% of every check you get, but they are a great way to find legitimate high-paying VA jobs. It just is what it is, right? So them taking out 10% of your $45 an hour job, to me, is not that bad, right? Than haggling maybe with someone on Facebook to, pay you $27, right? So I'm just saying, unless you find great clients, and quite a few of the clients won't even pay you on Upwork, they'll pay you another way, right? So I think it's one of my top platforms that I recommend to our students. Fiverr, I don't highly recommend it, but some people get started there. Okay, Fiverr is another, so Upwork and Fiverr are both platforms where jobs are posted and freelancers can post profiles. Fiverr is more known for freelancer advertising what they do. The only thing is it literally started basically with a lot of jobs being only $5. Now what freelancers have done is like they'll have a small tiny job for $5, and then like the next 2 jobs are like $95 and maybe $300. I'm really big on just getting paid more. So I like Upwork better, but some people, especially if you're like a graphic designer, book formatter, website designer, something very straightforward, Fiverr can maybe be beneficial for bringing you some traffic. Indeed. So companies, larger companies especially, will post about jobs that they have in the virtual assistant space on Indeed, on LinkedIn, as well as, this is kind of another insider tip, email lists. So there are so many different business coaches, mindset coaches, life set coaches, authors, lifestyle brands, right? I would recommend getting on their email list, because a lot of times any personal development brand that you may be a fan of, or just finding some and getting on their email list, when they are looking for support, do you know the first place they go? They send it out to their email list. And these are great ways to find really well-paying jobs. So I know that may seem like out of the ordinary, but great jobs in the emails. And then the last step is, what do you do to actually get paid? Like, how does the money come to you? Great question. So normally 3 different ways. The first way is the platform. So if you are working on Upwork, or if you get hired on Upwork or Fiverr, you will get paid through that platform. The great thing is all the accounting is done for you. So come tax time, you can just export what you made. You don't have to try to keep up with it yourself. Just saying. The second way is PayPal. So what some companies will do is they'll just have you send them an invoice every week or month. I like to bill either ahead of time or every week because I would rather have my money sooner rather than later. I don't prefer to go a whole month without getting my check, just FYI. So you may want to set that expectation from the beginning. But they will have you send them an invoice and they will pay you through PayPal. And then lastly is directly, right? So I've definitely worked for companies who they just ask for my banking information and they deposit my check right into my account. This is ideal. Just so you know, if you are starting on, if you're a newer VA and you don't have any previous clients on Upwork or Fiverr and you want to use them to build clientele, because people are going there daily, right? And they post jobs there, especially on Upwork daily. I would recommend, if you have the choice, get your first jobs on the platform. So then other companies can see that you're legitimate and you've made money, because companies like to hire people who have already made money. So it's worth it to lose a smaller percentage of your income in the beginning to legitimize yourself for future clients, right? Okay, so just to recap, when it comes to getting started as a virtual assistant, it really isn't as hard as it may seem. First, you just want to understand what it is, which we've already covered. You do want to set your price, okay? And after you set your price, make sure your services back it up. I have another video about that, but as someone who's interviewed VAs for myself, for their clients, the more you charge, you just want to have more experience and more skills, right? Like I said, just comment checklist for the checklist. But just like Microsoft Office, Buffer, and Canva, that unless it's an admin role, that may not be enough for 40 to 45 to 50 an hour, right? When you get to the 50 to 75 an hour, unless they're just looking for an executive assistant who has a lot of experience, which sometimes they are, but if not, they may be looking for more high dollar skills like creating courses, landing pages, etc. All easy skills to learn if you're willing to put in the work, right? But they are a bit different than just knowing Google Slides, right? Alrighty. If you found this helpful, please give me a like. If you are a virtual assistant with a goal to make 5 to 10K a month, subscribe, because I will have new trainings coming weekly, God's willing, to help you do just that.